name is Bethany, and this is the Knitting Thru podcast. I call it the Knitting Thru podcast because I knit through everything. I knit through all the emotions, I knit through all the circumstances, probably except for dire illness, because I can't physically do it, right? But that's what I do, and it's lots of fun, and I like to share it with you guys. So today I have lots of things I've been working on, and I'm excited that they are done because a few of them were very Halloween focused for my children, and I feel like I can pivot now into some Christmas knits for the people that I have for Christmas. So that's going to be fun. I've already done a little bit of that, but I have some more plans for those. What I'm wearing today is a handmade skirt. This is wool fabric on the outside, and then I have this fun little fall lining on the inside, and I really like that. It is very long. It is full length. Like if I come up here, it's to my ankles. It's very, very long. Peek at the slippers there. And then this is not a shirt I made, but I recently cut off all the fold over collars on all my flannel shirts because I don't like them. I like how they look on other people. I feel like they're always getting caught up in my hair, and they're never laying correctly with my clothes. Sometimes I'm not sure if the points should be inside my sweater or outside my sweater. Anyway, so I just cut them off. I did that with almost all of my flannel shirts a few nights ago. I just was in bed cutting them off and it was a great decision. It's one of those where you're sitting there very late at night going, am I gonna really regret this? But I have not. I've really loved that. And then this is my tulip sweater. I had it on earlier to wear, and I'm going to keep it with me as I go throughout my day. It is November 2nd, 2025, and I have a cast party to attend tonight, so I have a feeling I'm going to want to have that on as I'm traveling to and fro. And it's in a really old historic building, so the heat, the temperature level from room to room varies drastically. We were practicing the musical Oklahoma in that building during the summer, and heavens to Betsy, there were some rooms that were so hot that we were dancing in, and then there were other rooms that felt really great. So I think in the winter it will also be like that, where there will be cold patches and things, and that's just the way it is with older buildings. In fact, I live in a house that's over 100 years old, and so this porch is quite cold most of the time. I've been scurrying around trying to get pumpkin rolls in and out of the oven for the cast party this evening, and so I got a little hot, so who knows, maybe halfway through the podcast I'll put it back on. Okay, before we get into things, I'm going to breathe for a second because I'm noticing I'm talking really fast. Feel free to join me. Okay, so before I was able to get supplies for Halloween projects, there were a few weeks in October that I was working on other things. I needed to wait for us to get paid again before I could go buy some fabric and buy some yarn. I knew I needed to buy the yarn first because, of course, knitting often is a slower craft than sewing because you're creating the fabric that you're working with. Man, the light today, I'm just not sure how to best manage it, but we will try. So I was working on some things very diligently before I got the yarn for part of my son's outfit. And so this one, the Christmas stocking, which I believe is called the mistletoe stocking, I have made 3 of these already, and this is the last one. And I was just working on a chart repeat a day. So I've got 4 done there. I think I need 3 more before I start the heel. And then the foot is nuts because it's a stocking, right? It doesn't need to actually fit a foot. The foot is like this chunky little foot. I love it so much. It's so cute. So, that's not going to be, what is that? What is that? 1, 2, I think it's 3 chart repeats. Of course, there's like a little gusset here. So there's more stitches to work, but I am confident that I'll be able to get it done before I see my sister for Thanksgiving. So we're going to be doing a family Thanksgiving get together the weekend before Thanksgiving itself. And I'm wondering, okay, and I always do this where I meet a goal. If I meet a goal early, I like move the goalpost, right? So, which can be a really bad habit because it makes you feel like you're not achieving anything when actually you're getting things done early. So recognize that you met the goalpost if you're also someone who does that. But I thought it would be really cute, and maybe it's not something that I'll be able to get done for Thanksgiving. But they have a little cat that they adore. And it, you know, I think that if you have a pet that you adore and you all have handmade stockings, then it would be really fun if your cat had like a smaller version of it. So I was thinking if I made like a half, which might just be a regular size sock. Like if I put this in half, would that just be a regular colorwork sock? But I will just stripe it instead of doing this pattern on it. And make it a little cat stocking. I'm not sure if I will have enough time to do that. I do think I will have enough yarn left over, which would be great because my sister's the one who paid for the yarn. And so I would love for her to get as much out of it as she can. So, not that I am opposed to using the leftovers from it. But here we are. We've got probably half a leg of a stocking, which is nice because I am a little bit I don't want to say burnt out, but if she was like, oh, I just recently learned how to knit and I'll finish these, I would totally be like, okay. But that's not happening, and I do want to finish them. I think it will be really satisfying to finish them. In fact, I've been thinking of some Christmas stockings that I'd like to make for my family, but those will probably take me a really long time because I want them to be even bigger than these, and they have like a colorwork motif that isn't as repetitive. It's like animals on them, and so that might be, it's a lofty goal, but we're okay with those. So, oh, and all of the yarn is Let Lopey except for this blue. The blue that I used in these two is Knitting Nakabi's Merino DK in Cookie Monster. And then this one, I don't believe that they have, they never have like the name on the ball band. And so I believe this is Brick Heather, the red that I'm using. And then this one is Ash Heather. It's this really white with just a little bit of gray in there. And then the green, I cannot remember the name of the green one, but that is also a Let Lopey yarn. And it has been so satisfying. I love working with rustic yarns. And she was saying that what she wanted was things that looked naturally dyed and not processed and things. And I think that is, we've really achieved that with this situation. So I'm not sure if I'll have time to line them before I give them to her. I'm going to try to do that, to put some fabric lining on the inside. And then I also want to, I'm not sure if I should knit some I-cord loops for hooks essentially on them. I think that would work well. And they might stretch out over time, but that's not really a problem. It's okay. So that is one of the main goals for November, to get done early so that I can potentially knit a little cat stocking also, and so that I will have time to line them before I see her on the third weekend of November. The other thing I was working on while I was waiting for supplies is the Porter cardigan. This is the Porter cardigan by, I think her name is Megan Babin. And this has been so fun. The cables on it are a little intense, of course. It is a cable-licious situation. And I just added in my third ball of yarn. I've been keeping track of where I finish 100 grams because I just think that's fun to see. And I just started the decreases, so I just was able to bind off some of these. And the decreases are pretty significant. I think I am going to be able to finish the back this month, which is really satisfying as well. I've been working on this for a long time. I keep taking breaks that are pretty extended. And my goal right now is to be able to get it done for my dad's birthday, which is January 2nd. I've been doing the math in my head, and if I get it, if I'm going to do that, right, I have November and December, which is 8 weeks essentially. And I have 2 sleeves and 2 front panels to do and a collar ribbing, right? Which essentially means I need to have a sleeve, a front done every 2 weeks or less, and then be able to do the shawl collar. Now, I know that is, for me, a lot, especially because these cables do take a long time. But honestly, if I gift it to him in, I want to just be able to give it to him as soon as I am done with it, but also there is something about giving someone something on their birthday. So if I finish it next July, I might just hang on to it for a while and then give it to him in January. There is this weird anxiety that I have about having a handmade gift for someone and them like passing away. So I don't know why. I do know why. I do know why because it's happened. But and frogging something for someone who's died is just really heart-wrenching. Now, I know that if I did finish it and for some like horrible reason my dad passed away, I'd probably just wear it. So it's not that it would go to waste, it's just that he wouldn't have enjoyed it at all. So he's not sick or anything, but because it's happened once, my brain is weird about it. So I'm trying to work through that. It's a strange, I'm trying to knit through that. It's a really strange thing to be like fixated on death when you're making a gift for someone, especially when there's not like a reason for you to think that about that person. So yeah, weird, strange for me. I don't like it, but I'm working through it. So anyway, I am now at the point where I'm just going to be able to, and that's the thing, in November and December, I'd have to be getting those things done every couple of weeks. We're on November 2nd, so that's fine, but I think it's going to take me a while to even finish the back of this. So I'm going to keep trucking on it. I really am. One of my thoughts was maybe I could do the sleeves in stockinette, like the fronts and the back would be all cabled beautifully like the pattern says, but maybe the sleeves would be in stockinette. I've been contemplating that. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to think about it. But anyway, yeah, because it's knit all in pieces and then you seam it together. So I think what I might do is do the if I did do the sleeves in stockinette, what I'd probably do is do a provisional cast on for like what I know is going to be seamed to the garment and work that up, and then just like whatever I would be doing in the round, do that down. That's a thought I'm having about it too. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of bummed that I will have to really, really, really be focused on it for it to happen. But that's okay. I'm gonna figure it out. And even if he gets it next year, he will love it just as much. That means it will have been on my needles for, or at least he and I will have been talking about a sweater for him for about 3 years. I say talking about, we talked about it once and it was 3 years ago. And I've been doing like the first 6 months or something, I was just deciding if I wanted to design a pattern or not, or if I wanted to use someone else's. And after trying to get my brain around how I'd want that design to be and like being intentional about it, I just decided I would go with someone else's pattern that was really beautiful. I texted him some patterns of, do you like this one? Do you like this one? And he literally chose this one and said, I like that one. It looks the most complicated. So I guess it's on him because he chose the most complicated one. So yeah, it is beautiful. I really love it. He has a Scottish heritage that he's very proud of. And so I was trying to choose something that I thought he would wear if he was going to visit Scotland. He's visited Scotland once before. And just seeing him like in my mind's eye in front of Hunterston Castle, which is our, like where our people came from, in that cardigan just makes my heart so happy. So anyway, that's what I was working on. And in fact, I got the supplies for Halloween before I got to the decreases, and it took everything in me to not keep working on that and to keep trucking on the Halloween stuff. Speaking of Halloween stuff, this is a free pattern for a Hogwarts house scarf. This is the Gryffindor colors. My son went as Harry Potter for Halloween. So this was really easy to do. It just took a long time because it's very long. I didn't realize very cool. I didn't realize that, of course, him being a little bit shorter than I am, I could have probably like not done a couple of the stripes and it still be an adequate scarf for him. But I'm okay that I finished it. I have a little bit of the yarn left. This is Garnet Heather and this one is Popcorn Butter. So this is it. This is all that I have left. It's less than 50 grams for each of them because they come in these 50-gram balls. So I have my little tags here, and I did not even take the yarn out of the box. I just kept putting the project back in the box at night and then taking it out in the morning because putting it in a designated project bag felt kind of silly because that was what I was working on all the time. I was never actually putting it away. And that worked out really well because I didn't have any available project bags, I don't think, anyway. I think there's enough here for me to make him a pair of mittens that would match this, which I think would be really cute. And he does not have a pair of mittens right now, I don't think. Everything this year has kind of been going down the line of children, which is fantastic. I love that is happening. The coat that I made in fact, let me finish this and then I'll tell you about the coats. So this is Wool of the Andes yarn. It's a worsted weight yarn. I've never used it before, but I really like it. If you're looking for just a workhorse, non-superwash, worsted weight yarn, this is really great. It's really round, and lovely. I was doing 2 stripes a day on this for a while. And then we had a couple of busy days. But I'm glad I did that because doing 2 stripes a day when I could meant that if I had been able to do it, there are 19 stripes on here. They begin and end with the red ones. This is a free pattern, so it's very detailed on the website, like what you cast on. You knit it in the round, and then your fringe kind of cinches up the ends here. She directs you to block it before you put the fringe on, but I also wanted the fringe to have a good soak too, so I put the fringe on and then soaked it. It smells so good. Oh my gosh. But it's really long and he loves it. And it really does work as just a good scarf for him. So that's good. The one thing is though, is that a lot of times when I make something for one of my kids, at least one of the other kids says, "Can you make one of those for me?" And I say, "Of course, I would love to do that for you." But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if she wants one exactly like this or if she wants different house colors or what. But I think it would be so cute because I have 4 kids if I just made all the house colors and they all just picked the one they wanted to wear that day. The fringe was very satisfying to do. She even has, I didn't like trim it. I tried to make it as even as I could when I was putting it on. But I might just give a little haircut on there. I was in a huge hurry to get it done. I got it done the day before Halloween. I put the fringe on the afternoon before Halloween, and so I had about 24 hours for this sucker to dry. So it did, which was great, and it was perfect, and the timing was great, and it was a free pattern, and I got to use a great yarn that I've never used before, and it was lovely. In addition to the scarf, I wanted him to be able to have some type of jacket. And in the Hogwarts uniform, they have like a robe that they wear. So I did my own thing with that. I am sure there's some type of pattern that you could get for that, but I did not get that. I just used what I had. So I went and got some fabric and used the pattern that I had. I have previously made the Oatlands coat, and it was a wonderful experience for me to make that for my oldest a few years ago. Now my youngest is wearing the coat, even though it is a little too big for him because he wanted to be a pumpkin for Halloween. So it's orange on the bottom and green on the yoke and hood, and so we lovingly call it the pumpkin coat. And he wore it and taped a plastic foliage piece to his head and was so happy. So that was great. In fact, as we were trick-or-treating, he kept walking with his little bucket of candy and saying, "I'm the prince of the pumpkins. I'm the prince of the pumpkins." And it was, oh, so cute. So that is a thing that I made, but it was a few years ago and he really loved it. So this is the cape that I made for, robe thing that I made for my son. When you close it and he has it on, you can't really see the buffalo plaid thing going on here. It's got this one snap there. And I did make the V rather low, so I adjusted the snap for that. Here, he's big enough that I might be able to put this on. I don't know. Oh my gosh. It's too short in the arms for me, but that's hilarious. I'm going to have to tell him I'm going to steal it. But here we go. Obviously this is too tight for me, but this is what he wore, and it goes down to his ankles, and then he snaps it closed. And so there's a little bit of zhuzhing that I did for him so that the buffalo check wouldn't be out in the open. But even when it was, he was really recognizable as Harry Potter. Everyone knew who he was. He was so happy. And at one point, someone who was dressed as Weird Al Yankovic. So he had like this really crazy shirt on, and he had a big black curly wig on. And my oldest walked up and he said, "Oh, Mr. Potter." And Jack said, "Hello, Hagrid." I died. It was so funny. So you can tell if you look at the sleeves, he's been wearing this for 2 days. He absolutely loves it. There's just stuff on it. I need to wash it now. But he also really loves this furry fabric on the inside. And when oh no, this seam is coming apart. Oh well, I'll have to fix that later. I don't know how that happened. Anyhow, when he saw that I had used it in the hood, he was so happy. And that meant that 3 of my kids had this furry fabric on their hoods, on their backs as we were trick-or-treating, and it just looked really cute and cozy and, you know, wintry even. So this one needs a good wash. He's been just using it. You can see there's stuff on the sleeves, and I love when it gets so messy because they love it so much. Oh, nothing makes me happier than when I have to do laundry because they love the things that I've made them. So in the Oatlands pattern, there are 2 options for the shape of the coat. You can do like a bell shape for the body and the sleeves, and that's what I did for the robe. And then you can have like a standard straighter cut with a tapered sleeve on it, and it all comes in the same pattern. It's all printed on the same paper, so even if you're not sure if you have enough fabric to do the bell one, if you print out the pattern, and you'll be able to just cut out the shape and see if you have enough, and if you don't, you can just cut out to the standard part. Anyway, so this is kind of the coup de grace. This is what I did for my littlest daughter. She's so sweet. She decided she wanted to be a little bat for Halloween, which is hilarious to me because she's into very cutesy things. She's into unicorns and rainbows and fairies and Hello Kitty and all of that stuff, right? Like all the things that you would assume a little girl is into, she is into those things. So when she said she wanted to be a bat, I said, "Oh, wow, that's going to be really cool." And she said, "Yes, and I would like it to be a vampire bat." And so she wanted these fangs and like for me to draw blood dripping off one of the fangs. It was so spooky and cute. So I did the same pattern, and one of the things that I really like about the Oatlands pattern is it comes with this little planning sketching thing, right? So like you can take your measurements, you can put like what day it is so that you remember like when you made it and how it came out. You can even staple some of your fabric swatches here, and I just really like it. So I did one of these for both of their coats, just so that I could be sure I was cutting out the right sizes and had everything together. Now I cropped her coat because she really likes cropped stuff, and she was wearing a dress. She was wearing these black fleece leggings and a black short sleeve dress, and then like that was what she had purchased with her dad for her bat costume, and then she had this little headband that had like bat wings on the top. It was so cute. And I thought, this girl's gonna be out in short sleeves in Indiana on Halloween? Absolutely not. And it's a real stereotype for kids in Halloween garb to have to put their winter coats on over their costume. And it's just such a drag. Like, it's so annoying. And it makes sense because a lot of the costumes that you buy are made of not windproof material at all. And so that's one of the reasons that I really want to make a lot of the kids' things, is because it can be warm enough to be a costume, but also it can be creative in, what am I trying to say? It can be their vision of what their costume is supposed to be without it being too cold and them having to cover it up with a coat. So this is the Batwing jacket that I made for her. I have these little wings on, and they're in the sleeve seam. And then this part is just, I just tacked it to the, you can see there's like a space here. Can you see there's a space there? I don't know. In between, but when she lifts her little arms up, it is perfect. So I got the same hood situation going on here. She wanted that in there. And then these spiderweb buttons are just the perfect thing. She was so happy with them. They're ceramic buttons, and so she keeps telling people they're glass buttons. And I'm like, yeah, girl. I got them from Katna's Buttons. I had 4 of them, but 2 of them broke in a tantrum, essentially. We settled down and talked about it. My youngest was having a hard time, and he didn't realize that the buttons were breakable. And so he was actually shocked and terrified when he saw that they were broken. But we had 2 left, and that was just perfect. And she has been wearing it every day. In fact, asking her to take it off so that I could show you on the podcast was hard for her. So I told her, I was like, I can give it back to you this afternoon as soon as I'm done. And she was like, okay. So I did inseam pockets in the robe. Those are not, if you've never done inseam pockets, they're not hard and they're so great to have. If you have enough material and enough volume in whatever you're making to have inseam pockets, for heaven's sake, take the 20 minutes longer that it takes to do it and do it, because it's just so much more functional and it's just better all around. So in this world where women have not been allowed to have pockets in certain centuries, I feel like it's political resistance to sew pockets in all of my clothing, even if it's for my son. Like women get pockets, children get pockets, we all get pockets. Like, that's how I feel about it. So, speaking of, I made these little secret pockets in her cropped jacket. She was hiding candy in it today. And the Hello Kitty lining was a really great choice on her part, because we were in the fabric store getting her fabric, which is this great velvety, like crushed velvety fabric. And it is slinkier than I expected. It was harder to work with than the sturdier fabrics I normally work with, but it definitely worked. And I made the bat wings. I made my own little piece for them. So I just taped some paper together, did a 13-inch to 13-inch quarter of a circle. I just made the circle, and then I cut out the little points for the bat wings. And then I also, when I was doing the bat wings, I did, this is hard to see because it's black thread on black material, but you might be able to see the little lines that go to the points. And I did that because I didn't think the points would stay otherwise. So it also looks like, the cartilage that is in bat wings. I felt like this was even better with that. And I realized that if I wanted to do a more cartilage looking thing, I could have added some piping inside it and just sewn along the sides of that. But we were too far in at that point. I was not about to stop and make piping. But if you're going to make a bat costume at some point, that's a great idea. When we were in the store, she had this moment of second guessing, and she said, oh no, I think I need to be Hello Kitty for Halloween. And I said, oh no, see, because if you switch what you're going to be, then you just have to work with what we have at the house, which we have several costumes at the house. We have dress up clothes, We have costumes that I've made years before. And I said, so you'll just have to choose from one of those. You could be a cowgirl, you could be a seahorse, you could be, and I start like listing the things that we have that she could use. And she said, oh, I just don't know. And I said, how about this? I know you love Hello Kitty, but being Hello Kitty for Halloween will be a hard option for you because we don't necessarily have those things. So what if we made secret Hello Kitty lining in this coat and you know about it and I know about it, but on the outside you're a bat? And she was like, okay. So we bought the Hello Kitty fabric, we made the Hello Kitty lining, and it just peeks out every once in a while she's wearing it. She adores it. She hasn't taken it off since Halloween. In fact, she will wear it without a shirt on. She'll just put the jacket on, and it's this little cropped jacket with, you know, whatever pants she happens to be wearing. And I had to tell her, I was like, hey girl, it's November now. You have to wear a shirt when you go outside. And she was just like, okay. So, because we've worn like crop tops and tank tops and all that stuff outside when it's been super hot. But I was like, girl, no belly buttons in November. We got to put clothes on. So she's really loved this. And now that I've shown it to you, I can give it back to her and she's going to be overjoyed. I have two more things I want to show you. One is I was working on, and this was actually before the Halloween supplies got here, or we went to get them, or we ordered them. I was working on a hexagon cardigan for my daughter, my oldest daughter, who went as a rainbow fairy. I did not make her costume this year. We got it online and it was beautiful, and she had a light up cape and everything. It was fantastic. So I was thinking of making her a hexagon cardigan for Christmas. And it's going along fine, but I, for some reason, thought that the hexagon made all the pieces. But as you can see, it only makes half of the cardigan. So you have to make another hexagon for that to happen. So I used all of this color and all of this color, and then I was going into this color and I realized what I had done. And I would really like both sides to match if I am going to make her two things right together. So I'm going to frog it back to the bright pink, wherever that original hexagon is going to be, because I am okay with using that as part of the blanket I've been working on. And I can use these things as part of the blanket I've been working on for it too, these yarns. So it's not a waste of work or a waste of doubling up yarn or anything. I probably had a day where I would, you know, have gained some time by not working on this, but I was glad that I did it because it also meant that I understood how to make it next time. I have looked it up before, but I thought I remembered, and I think maybe the shape that you use, I don't know, is the shape that you use to make like the whole thing where you just do the sleeves and stuff a pentagon? I can't remember. Anyway, it's okay. I don't have to remember. Oh, something is caught. There we go. I think maybe I crocheted some of my hair in there and it was messing it up. Anyway, it was fine to do, but I think I'm going to go back to that and use it in the blanket. I'm still just kind of puttering along with the blanket, making a flower shape every once in a while, and that's just going to go along as it is. I've been thinking about doing the hexagons for the crochet blanket and then using whatever is left over from those to do in a jelly roll blanket, the knitted jelly roll blanket. I know that Kay Jones just came out with a crocheted version, but I'm not a big fan. I like how linen stitch looks, but I'm not a big fan of doing the linen stitch, the knitted linen stitch. So I have a feeling that the crocheted linen stitch will also not be my jam, but I've thought about looking it up just online about how to do the crochet linen stitch to see if I am interested in doing that. Yeah, so we'll see. Okay, so back to original hexagon for the middle of one of the blanket flowers. So there we go. Whew. Now the last thing that I've pivoted towards and I started this on Halloween evening because I realized that I was done with everything and we'd gone trick-or-treating and everything was done. So this is a free pattern called the Snowfall Town hot water bottle cover. So I love making hot water bottle covers. I made 3 last year. 4. I made 4 last year. I made 3 regular size ones and 1 mini one. And I want to make even more for my house. Maybe 2 more. I don't know. But this is a gift. This is a Christmas gift. The pattern has these little blue dots that are in these peaks, I guess you would call them. But by the time I had finished this part of it, I had this much blue yarn left. I was using a leftover that I've had for a long time. I used some of this blue in another hot water bottle cover that I used last year or made last year, and I really like that yarn. It was I got it in a trade. I was going to say it was gifted to me, and it was, but like gifted for other yarn that I gifted to her. So this white yarn belonged to my grandmother-in-law who recently passed away. And I have one of my husband's sisters, my sister-in-law, for Christmas. And so I thought, how special would it be if I made something for her from her yarn for that sister to give to her. So I'm going to be using this white yarn in this to give to her. I'm also going to buy the hot water bottle, of course, to put in there. I have a little bit more of her yarn to make something else for her. I'm not sure if it should be like a pair of fingerless mitts or something. I've made her like a headband to cover her ears in the winter. She has this beautiful big curly hair, and so regular winter hats don't really work for her as well unless it's super like I don't think I've ever seen her with a winter hat on. My husband has the same hair as she does. It's big and curly and beautiful, and when he wears a winter hat he gets really hot, so it needs to be so cold for them to be wearing any type of hats, but their ears do get cold. So the headband worked really well for her. So I'm debating whether I should make her another one of those or I should make her a different accessory. But I'll just think about that while I am finishing this. I have another hand knit that I'm going to be casting on for a sister-in-law on my side of the family that I have for Christmas also. And so I'm just going to be doing the Christmas gifts that I know I want to do. And while I am knitting those, I'll think about if I can cast anything else on. But for some reason, getting someone 3 things in a Christmas gift makes sense to me. Like, even if it's like a huge thing and 2 tiny things, or like 3 moderate things or whatever, for some reason that feels like a very well-rounded out gift to me. So I think I'm going to make a couple of things for both of them with what I have in my stash, and then I'm going to buy a thing for both of them, and that's going to feel like complete to me around Christmas gifts for them. I also have some gifts that I've been thinking about making my children, but I have no idea if that will even fit into making plans. Because one of the things I would really love is if I got to December and felt really satisfied about what I'd made for Christmas for people, and then I just like knit Advent yarn from years past. I have an Advent from Magpie Fibers that I have plans for. And then I also have last year's sock Advent from Mouse Witch Yarns that I would love to cast on. In my brain, I'm just like, just cast on all the cuffs for them. Just cast on all the cuffs. That wouldn't hurt anything. It wouldn't hurt anybody, you know? And maybe it'll take you all a year next year. I don't know. I've done it before, and honestly, it wasn't such a bad idea. So I might do that. I might just cast on 8 cuffs at some point. I'm not sure. I do feel like there are some adjustments to clothing that I could make for myself in the upcoming weeks that would really be beneficial for my wardrobe. But this is often what happens, that I feel like there are a lot of things on the back burner when it's gift knitting season. And I am having an easier time with that. I'm having an easier time knowing that there are projects waiting for me. And then just kind of diving in January and being excited about finishing those. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Everything for everyone, I feel like right now is that we're trying to plan out our time and our resources for the best, gifting experience for us all. So now that Halloween is complete, I will shift into gift knitting. One of my kids asked me, like, why are you immediately making Christmas gifts? Isn't Thanksgiving in between? And I said, yes, it is in between, but we don't normally exchange gifts for Thanksgiving. So a lot of people start that now. And they were like, oh, okay. So I have this habit of playing Christmas music when I'm working on Christmas gifts, because it really does just help me think through, oh, there are only this many weeks left until then. And it also gets me in the spirit of all of it too. So I think that's it for today. My goodness. I thought this was going to be a shorter one, but I guess not. I have been working on a lot of things. So I will see you next time. If you made it to the end, leave me a comment or emoji or something. I love knowing who made it to the end. And I'll see you next time. Bye.